What happens when the old version of you comes back? Because no matter how much you've grown, healed, prayed, or transformed, there will be moments when the person you used to be comes knocking. The old habits, the old fears, the old wounds, the old darkness. When it happens, it can feel discouraging. You start wondering if you've actually changed at all. You question your progress. You question your faith. You question whether all the work you've done even matters. But I've come to realize that growth isn't about never falling. It's about refusing to stay down. The old version of you doesn't disappear overnight. Sometimes it lingers at the edges of your life, waiting for moments of exhaustion, grief, loneliness, stress, or uncertainty, waiting for an invitation back in. And that's why the battle is ongoing, not because you're failing, because you're human. I think one of the biggest misconceptions about healing is believing that one day you'll arrive and never struggle again, but life doesn't work that way. There will always be moments when darkness tugs at your foundation, moments when you're tempted to quit, moments when you're tempted to go backwards, moments when the easier path looks appealing. And maybe that's part of the human experience, because how can we truly understand light if we've never known darkness? How can we appreciate peace if we've never experienced chaos? How can we understand forgiveness if we've never needed it? How can we understand redemption if we've never fallen? The contrast matters, not because darkness is good, but because it teaches us to recognize the light. The truth is every person has a shadow. Every person has flaws. Every person has struggles that nobody else sees. Sometimes we become so focused on our shortcomings that we forget something important. The goal was never perfection. The goal was always redemption. God knew every mistake you would make before you ever made it. He knew every weakness, every struggle, every failure, every moment you'd lose your way. He chose to love you anyway, not after you got your life together, not after you became perfect, not after you proved yourself worthy, right now, as you are. That's what grace is, yet grace is often the hardest gift to receive, because we understand forgiving other people better than we understand forgiving ourselves. We carry shame, we carry guilt, we carry regret. Sometimes we convince ourselves that because we've stumbled, we're disqualified. But that's not how God works. The enemy wants you to believe that falling means you're finished. God wants you to understand that falling is simply an opportunity to get back up as many times as it takes. I've learned that resilience isn't the absence of failure. Resilience is the decision to continue after failure. It's choosing prayer after feeling distant from God. It's choosing discipline after giving into temptation. It's choosing light after darkness, over and over again, because every day presents a choice, not between perfection and failure, but between surrendering to darkness or moving toward the light. Sometimes moving toward the light feels difficult. Sometimes it feels exhausting. Sometimes it feels like you're crawling instead of walking. Sometimes you don't feel worthy of God's love. Sometimes you don't feel worthy of another chance. Sometimes you don't feel worthy of redemption. But worthiness was never the requirement. Faith is, humility is, the willingness to keep turning back toward Him is. I often think about how many times Jesus pursued people who were imperfect. The broken, the rejected, the doubters, the sinners, the people who had made mistakes, the people everyone else had given up on, because that's who grace is for. Not the perfect, the willing. Not the flawless, the faithful. Not the people who never fall, the people who keep getting back up. So, when the old version of you appears, don't panic, don't shame yourself, don't convince yourself you've lost all your progress. Recognize what's happening. A test, an opportunity, a reminder, a chance to choose again. Because every moment is a new decision. Every day is a new beginning. Every breath is another opportunity to return to the person God is calling you to become. The darkness may tug at your foundation, but it doesn't have to own it. The old version of you may speak, but it doesn't get the final word. The temptation may appear, but it doesn't have to decide your future. Keep reaching for the light, even when it's difficult. Keep reaching for the light, even when you're tired. Keep reaching for the light, even when you feel ashamed. Keep reaching for the light, even when you don't feel worthy. Because God is worthy of your effort, not because He needs it, because He deserves it. He deserves the fight. He deserves the discipline. He deserves the perseverance. He deserves the version of you that refuses to quit, the version that keeps showing up, the version that keeps trying, the version that keeps believing, the version that keeps getting back on the horse, every single time life knocks you down. And maybe that's what faith really looks like. Not never struggling, not never doubting, not never falling, but relentlessly turning back toward God. Relentlessly choosing the light, relentlessly pursuing the person He created you to be. Because redemption isn't found in perfection. It's found in the courage to begin again, and again and again, until one day you look back and realize that every time darkness called your name, you answered with faith. Every time you fell, you got back up. Every time you lost your way, you found your way home. And that relentless pursuit of the light became the story of your life. And if you're struggling today, remember this. The old version of you may visit from time to time, but it no longer gets to decide who you are. You are not defined by your worst moment. You are not defined by your failures. You are not defined by the battles you're fighting. You are defined by the God who continues to call you forward. So keep showing up, keep choosing faith, keep choosing grace, keep choosing the light. One step at a time, one prayer at a time. And trust that God is still working, even when you can't see it. May God continue to guide your steps toward His light. Thank you for spending this time with me. This is Vibe Glow. Keep glowing, keep growing in grace.